All right. So, guys, this is the last lesson that we are going to have for the learning task. Okay. So, at the end of this week, you need to submit the learning task with the 30 points minimum. Okay. And as you can see there, our goal for this week is that we can describe the function of the respiratory system. Okay. So there's some video links here that we are going to go through in this lesson, okay, and hopefully they're going to help you with the learning task, okay. Now, guys, I would like everyone to focus on the lesson um, before I take the chat privileges away. Okay, so our APK here is what do you think the respiratory system is, and what organs make up the system? Okay, so have a think about the picture that you can see here. All right, 2 minutes, and just put in the chat what do you think the answer is going to be. Okay, so Gabe said the lungs and the heart. Benji said it's breathing. Okay, so now without anyone else putting in the chat, all right, so Benji um, is correct there, and Gabe, you all, you've got part of it there. Okay, so it is about breathing. Okay, respiratory system. It's a bit of a hard word to say, and I still struggle to say it. And what I usually do is just to say it really slowly. So the way I would say it is respiratory system. Okay, so very slowly. So respiratory system, and then if you say it faster, respiratory system. Okay, so it's a bit of a hard word to say there. And yes, it is about breathing. Okay, as you can see from the image here, and yeah, it's gonna be about the lungs here. Okay. Now, Gabe, you mentioned the heart as well, and I think that is um, now, although it's not part of the system, I think it's a great thing to pick up because the respiratory system and the circulatory system, they kind of work together. Okay. And so, it's good that you kind of pick it up. So remember, the heart pumps the blood around, and the blood basically they carries oxygen and also um, other nutrients around our body. Okay, and now I'm just gonna fix something here, guys. All right. So, so basically, we are going to look at the lungs today. And so one of the first video that you can see here is we are going to look at lungs dissection. Okay. Now I hope no one has the breakfast yet, or if you have a strong stomach. This video may be inappropriate, please,
Hello, I'm
as you can see. All right. So normally, if we were back in school, then we would, I'll show you guys this section, okay? But obviously we're not, so I'm going to show you this video.
Ross Exton, and today we've come to Live Lab to dissect some lungs.
So here's our
So our lungs can be found just behind our ribs inside our chest, and they're responsible for exchanging the gases between the air and our bodies, getting rid of the carbon dioxide we don't need and taking in the oxygen that we do. So that oxygen is carried around by the blood in our bodies, which needs to be pumped by the heart. And we can
All right. So this is what Gabe was talking about there before, right? So they work together, even though they don't belong to the same system, okay, the lungs and the heart. But they work together, and it's important that we know the connection between the two, okay?
can find that just behind the lungs. So when you breathe in, the air passes through your nose and mouth, arriving at your throat, where you can find this thing here. This is called the voice box or larynx. And attached, we can find two tubes heading down from it. This one here goes down towards the lungs. This is called the windpipe or trachea. And here we have the esophagus. Now you want your air to go down the trachea to your lungs and your food to go through the esophagus. This is called an epiglottis. When you swallow, it closes over the top, blocking the trachea and preventing any food from going down. And so instead, your food just passes in the esophagus. So now we're going to remove the voice box. So inside here, we can see a structure which pinches together. And those are the vocal cords. Now, whenever you want to make a sound, all you need to do is just vibrate them. And you can feel this for yourself by placing your hand on your throat and going, ah. Now, combined with your lips and your tongue, that is how you speak. So the air passes down the trachea towards the lungs, but what we can see here are some rings of cartilage. So these rings of cartilage help to keep the windpipe open, giving the air a clear passage going down to the lungs. But if you know anyone who suffers from asthma, these rings of cartilage can collapse down, preventing the air from getting a clear passage down. But if you take an inhaler, breathe in that medicine, they will open back up, meaning they can breathe properly once again. So let's cut down the trachea and see what's inside. Inside here, we can see this white foamy stuff. And this is mucus. You have mucus in your lungs too, and it helps to prevent any bits of dust and bacteria from getting into the lungs. So when we get to the bottom of the trachea, we can see that it branches off to two tubes called a bronchus. So the air passes down here, going into the lungs. So let's cut down one of these tubes. So just like the branches of a tree, these branches get smaller and smaller, becoming bronchi, and then the smallest ones are called bronchioles. And right at the end of these bronchioles are microscopic structures called air sacs, or alveoli. And the alveoli is the place where the gases exchange between your body and the air. Now we can't see these alveoli, but if we cut off part of the lungs and drop it into some water, then we should be able to see what's inside it. So we can see the lung floats on the surface of the water because of the air inside.
What did you see before? When he put it into the water, what was he doing? And what did we see? So Gabe said bubbles, yeah? Justin said little red things, and Cody said blood. Yeah, there was blood. Now those bubbles, what do the bubbles show us? That's the air, right? That's the air that was breathed in to the lungs. Okay, so it shows you that there's air in there.
Inside it, and if we compare this to a bit of the diaphragm, so without that air in it, the muscle is far more dense, and so it sinks. So what actually happens to the lungs when it inflates? Well, to show you guys this, I have a syringe full of air. I'm going to place this into the top of one of those bronchiole tubes. And if I push down, we can see the lungs inflate. For more insides on the outside, check out our...
So there we go. So that's just a quick video about the lungs. And Gabe said it's like a balloon. Yes, it is. It is kind of like a balloon. All right. So remember, what happens is when you breathe in the air, okay, when you breathe in, it goes into your throat, okay, and there is that flap called the epiglottis, okay. The flap is there to block the airway when you swallow food, right? So the food doesn't get into airway, okay. And if you choke on your food, that means that there's something that kind of prevents that epiglottis to close. So what you do is you try to cough it out, right? Um, and so, and then the air would go into your trachea. Now the guy pronounced it trachea, but it's it's tomato. So it goes into your trachea. Then when it get into your trachea, it then go into your bronchus. So like it's like branch out into two because we have two lungs, right? And then from the bronchus, it branched out more into the bronchioles, and then from that goes into the alveoli or the air sacs, okay? And that's where you get the gas exchange. Now, if you guys want to watch this video again, okay, the link is on Compass, okay? And I hope that it kind of helps you with one of the learning tasks for the respiratory system. Okay, so that's the first. And the second thing that I want to show you guys, we kind of got a song, and you guys know how much I love songs. I'm sorry, Cody. It's just gonna be.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good. No.
Do you want to turn blue? Oh no, not that. Then you gotta breathe, cause breathing's where it's at. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Fresh air, give me some fresh air. Inhaling air through my mouth and my nose, right up my two nostrils, but where does it go? It can't hang around in my mouth by my tongue. It's gotta get down to my right and left lung. It passes your pharynx. It passes your pharynx. And then to your larynx. And then to your larynx. Known as your voice box, don't scream at your parents. Don't scream at your parents, don't scream at your parents. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Fresh air, give me some fresh air. Down past your larynx, but where is air going? It's into your windpipe for tracheal flowing. A few inches long with round tracheal rings, moving air in and out when you talk or she sings. La 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 la. Yeah, tracheal rings, like ladders have rungs. The trachea is guiding fresh air towards our lungs. Trachea lungs, trachea lungs. Now let's stay on top of this. Air's not for the esophagus. That's for food. Now let's stay on top of this. Air's not for the esophagus. That's for food. The trachea knows that's where air's gotta go. The trachea knows that's where air's gotta go. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Fresh air, give me some fresh air. Trachea splits to a pair of bronchi. A left one and right one move air from the sky. With bronchi branches to small bronchioles. Bronchioles, 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 bronchioles. They're inside your lungs, it's where air's gotta go. Bronchioles divide into alveoli, where gas exchange happens with air from the sky. A viola, a V-O-O-O-la. The respiratory organs on which mammals rely to transfer the oxygen that's found in fresh air to nourish our body from toes to up here. Lungs are the ones and they're moving in place, contracting, expanding to set breathing's pace. Controlled by the diaphragm, control with such ease. Our two human lungs are what let us all breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Fresh air, give me some fresh air. Oxygen in, CO2 out. Respiration is breathing, that's what it's about. Take care of your lungs, the song we should sing, and keep the air clean for each living thing. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe.
All right.
Monster Math presents.
I hope you guys enjoy that song. I love it. I love it. All right. So, you know, those are the videos, okay, that we went through. I hope they helps you. I hope you enjoy the morning. Okay. And yes, if if you got any questions, if you need any help, um, I'm gonna be, I will still be on WebEx. Okay, so you can stay to ask for help. All right. Remember, guys, that the learning task is due on Friday. Okay. Otherwise, you guys can go and do work on your own. You can email me as well if you need any help. Okay. Thank you for coming, guys. See you next week. Bye.